Hello everyone and welcome back to another Black Desert video. So today I wanted to talk about Essence of Dawns and the best places that I would recommend to grind them, how to get them. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because at least here on the North American server, Essence of Dawn, there's always orders on it. Like you can probably get it within a day if you put an order on it, but it's a pretty valuable item because a lot of people are enhancing Charizard accessories and usually it's maxed out. So one thing to first look at is this thing. This is what you use to basically melt down accessories, like your accessory plus this thing, and it tells you how many you can get. So yeah, this is basically a breakdown of, you know, how much of the Essence of Dawns you get per accessory meltdown. And of course, there are the two grind spots in Land of the Morning Light where you get the crystals and then you melt those down for more essences and stuff. But I think for a lot of people who don't want to grind in the new Morning Light spots, enhancing accessories and then melting it is probably the way to do it. Someone has to do it if you're buying it. And I wanted to talk about some of the grind spots that I think are notable for it. So if we look at this one, you obviously want the ones that give the most, right? So that one would be revived river necklaces. I guess like the ones that give more than, less. So I wanted to talk about some of the grind spots and what I think about them and why you should grind there as well. So the ones we're going to talk about are revived river necklace, ocean haze, ethereal earrings, and then I believe the other ones are ominous, dawns, and distos. So those are the ones that I think are the more notable ones for you guys to get. And those are the ones that are like the most profitable if you are just grinding for silver and you don't need it. But for everyone else, like myself, who needs Essence of Dawns, let's talk about this for a second. So let's talk about some of the grind spots and why I think they're good. So whether you just want silver or not, let's talk about this. So as we all know, Elvia has been, one of the hit or miss spots for a lot of them. I feel like they came out with Elvia years ago, and you know how they just never added anything to it? They just kind of introduced Dekia afterwards. I wish they would actually introduce more Elvia spots because I thought it was a cool concept where people go into, like a dark realm or something, whatever they want to call it, Elvia. So as we all know, in current Elvia, the best spots to grind are Oryx, Quint Hill is very good, but the ones we were a little bit talking about a little bit off meta is Altar Imps and Swamp Fogans. Now, the reason why these are actually good now compared to before is because river necklaces actually sell for a lot. And if we look at this, these are 200 mil. Remember a couple years ago when these were actually at the bottom, like 20, 30 mil each? Yeah, that's not great. The reason why they're worth a lot is because they make the most Essence of Dawns, which essentially sell for the most. So if you're enhancing for profit, this is actually a good thing to do because obviously you want to get the pen version and then melt it down, or obviously just sell it, which, either one is essentially the same amount of silver. The market price has, equaled out to Essence of Dawn value versus the pen cost. So it's basically the same. These aren't really good to use itself, but you're using it to melt it. That's really about it. So I think of the spots that we just talked about, Altar Imps is also good. Plus, you get a bunch of the Shard of Tearful Knights. So whether you are, well, I guess you are at Charizard at this point because that's, why you're doing it. But even if you're looking for the cup thingies that you put, the extra stats on your accessories, I still do believe you do use this and then you just upgrade it going forward for everything else. Back in the day when I grinded Altar Imps and Swamp Fogans, they weren't so good, but with the accessory drops now, that just adds a lot more. So yeah, these are definitely good spots to grind now simply because, the accessories are actually worth something. And plus, sealed magical or sealed black magic crystals are actually worth more than like 1 mil now, and it's good. And all of these, so I think most people might actually clear over 1 billion silver nowadays, which is, you know, more than before, so that's always nice. The next spot I want to talk about is, where would this be, actually? I'll just search it. So let's talk about Padix Island. So as we talked about before with the Dawn thing, the Ocean Haze Ring. Now this one is a basically straight DP, and it's not so great in terms of usage, but once again, Essence of Dawn is the main purpose of this. So Ocean Haze Ring, let's talk about this one. So this one is a little bit cheaper in terms of pen. It obviously reflects the essence price, but in terms of stats, it's not that good. You're doing it for essences, but the main reason why people would grind Padix is mostly for the Rich Merchant Ring piece as well. It's not listed here, but it is one of the places where if you are planning on going for the Rich Merchant Ring, which is a long-term goal, and I think everyone should go for it at some point, this is also a solid place just because, you know, Ocean Haze Rings are now worth more. Rich Merchant Ring piece, you're going to have to go for it eventually if you ever want to just get less or more money selling stuff on the market and everything else. So yeah, that's a little bit better now if you plan on doing that. These are irrelevant, but yeah, everything else is irrelevant. Ocean Haze Rings are good now. Rich Merchant Ring piece is something you go for eventually. So the only bad thing about this is, like, I wish, you know how Pearl Abyss has been adding wells and stuff, more easier transport from point A to B. I wish they would add a well to Padix Island. That way, I think more people would actually do it. And for all of you who have been playing since 2016, you guys remember when Pirate Island was like the good old PvP zone? There would be guild versus guild fights there, and guilds would just deck on each other for fun. Yeah, I remember the good old days of PvP. Now this place is abandoned. Maybe one day they'll add like a, you know, a Decia or something with it, or an Elvia. That would be cool to bring back like something that really only old school players actually know about. But even then, I think it would still be a good idea to add like some sort of well or something, just so people can actually get here. So a quick tip: if you have a unicorn, a tier 10 unicorn that is, you can island hop from, you know, let's say you go from Elvia down here, you can island hop all the way to Padix just fine and barely have enough stamina to do that. It's faster than boating, but once again, that is a tier 10 privilege. And if you don't have it, well, just bring your boat there. It's also not really a big deal, but one is faster than the other if you just have a tier 10. I know that because I tested it. The next thing I want to talk about is another grind spot that actually gives a lot. So we're going to be talking about, where is it? The Dawn Earring. And that one is coming from, where is it? The Abandoned Monastery. And this one is the one that I guess less people grind, because remember when you grinded there and it would tell you like, oh, this thing is spawning the big boss, and then everyone would be over there and they would just turn into PvP. I think that's why people would grind there less. But I think another reason is this is just a party of 2, and usually when most people grind, you're going to be grinding solo. So yeah, that's one thing. Admittedly, I don't have a lot of hours in there. I have a few, but if you're going for the Essence of Dawn and you want to go for the Dawn Earrings, that's also pretty solid. And there was also another spot that, where was it? Cyclops Land. This also gives Dawn Earrings, and it's also a solo spot, but it is admittedly one of the higher geared areas. This spot is actually kind of like a spot that less people talk about. I think it's decent. It's obviously not at the top end, but not bad. But with the prices of Dawn still being relevant, they used to be 300 plus mil, but they dropped off a little bit. Even then, at 200, I still think it's good. Plus the chance of limbo seals to get your Debo rings and then a bunch of trash loot and everything. I still think this is an underrated spot. I just don't like it just because it's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, to be honest. Plus, you have to kind of play with the sound off, unless you enjoy hearing the gargoyles screeching for hours. But aside from that, if you're just straight up going for silver and everything, this is also a pretty good spot to grind as well. So yeah, new 5 spots that I think are underrated nowadays because some people have to get it. And these are the spots that I would say are, you know, if you're going to enhance for profit, then, or if you need the Essence of Dawns, those are probably spots that I would recommend for all of you guys. I think what other people are doing is they're just trying to click the low value items like, you know, crescent rings or syrups or whatever to like pen. And it's just like, oh, okay, you could probably make it for 75, but if you're gonna grind and enhance something and use weird stacks on it, you might as well just try to get the one that's worth a lot. So yeah, overall, there's a lot of different things. You could get the Essence of Dawn and then convert them to the normal one. So ultimately, it doesn't actually matter what you're doing. And I think it's good. So with that said, I'll see you guys later. Peace.